Hey guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. The time has come. We are about to go into the worst books that I read in 2018. I have 11 of them, and I want to make it clear that these are books that I completely finished, and I did not DNF any of these books. So, yeah. Because I DNF'd a lot of books, and I could put them on this list, but that doesn't make any sense if I didn't complete them. I don't feel like they should be in this list for some reason. If you want, I can do a video of all the books I DNF'd and why, but these are books that I completely finished in 2018 and didn't like. These are in no particular order. I don't have any of these books, so you will get a nice graphic of them, so let's just get started. The first book that I have is Still Life with Tornado by A.S. King. So this book is about a girl whose name I forget because I hated it so much, and I hated her so much, who's basically having an existential crisis. Just ask her, she'll tell you 40 million times that she's having an existential crisis. But basically she's in like this bad family situation, and she's skipping school and walking around all day, and that's it. And did I mention she's having an existential crisis? Because, wow, I don't know if I did, because this stupid MC mentions it every other chapter, and I just felt so disconnected from the story. I didn't like it at all. It's supposed to be magical realism, which fine, that's fine, but I feel like there has to be good writing if you're going to have any kind of book, and this writing just was not good. It was not for me. Did I mention she was having an existential crisis? Because I feel like she mentioned it every second. She really wanted you to know this. I can't remember the ending because I was just so frustrated with this book, but I feel like it was supposed to be like the main character witnessed something between her friend and a teacher, and it really like traumatized her, and instead of getting help for herself or this other student, she just like completely loses her mind. This is my cat, and she didn't like Still Life with Tornado either. Moral of the story is I didn't like this book. I didn't like it. I don't think I'm ever gonna read anything else by this author. I know she mostly writes magical realism, and it just isn't for me, especially from this author. So I think I gave this book, maybe I was nice and gave it 2 stars, but even like thinking about it makes me so angry. It's a 1-star book. So, okay. The next book that I have, I actually still have and haven't unhauled it yet, so I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna unhaul this book, and that is Love Letters to the Dead by Avia Delaria. I have heard so many good things about this book, especially on Goodreads, and it sounded like a hard-hitting contemporary, which is something I really enjoy and go towards when I am reading a young adult contemporary. However, this missed the mark for me. This is about a girl whose sister died, and she writes love letters to the dead, mainly people who died way before her time. Like, she's 16 and she's writing letters to Kurt Cobain, and he's like barely in my time, so it just felt like an older author was writing it, and that's exactly what it was. So things are revealed, and it's kind of a romance, but it just like felt so disconnected from it, and when I got to the end, I was mostly just angry, and I felt like I wasted a lot of time with this book, and I don't understand the hype of it, and it wasn't for me, and just looking at it like makes me angry, and I'm so excited to unhaul this. When I saw it on my list, I was like, I still have this, don't I? So it just it didn't impress me. I don't understand, like, people who I really trust on Goodreads rated it very highly, and I'm like, I must have missed something, but it wasn't for me. I gave it 1 or 2 stars. The next book on my list is On the Fence by Casey West. I Did not like this book. It was one of those books where, of course, the girl's name is Charlie, and she's a tomboy, and she has all these brothers, and of course she's a tomboy, and she hates girls who wear dresses and makeup, and it's just like, if authors get feminism wrong, I lose respect for them. And I just, like, ugh, it was so cringy that Charlie was like, I hate girls who wear makeup and dresses, and I don't fit in with them, and I just hang out with boys, and I get muddy and play football. And I was like, ugh. You can, like, be a girl and like football and hanging out with guys and still respect other women. Like, why is this so hard? And why are we teaching young readers that, like, this is how you're supposed to be? I don't know. But this book really bothered me, and I believe I gave it 2 stars, and I regret reading it, and I have other Casey West books, and I'm hoping they're not anything like this one, because I just did not enjoy it. It made me so angry. It's still making me angry, as you can see. So, not good. Just not good. The next book on my list is the last book in a series that I read this year, and this book just ruined the entire series for me. And it is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. First of all, it is 100% a miracle that I liked any book in this series, but, like, I gave The Raven Boys, I think, 3 or 4 stars, and then, like, you know, it was a good series. It's not something I would normally read, but I gave it a chance and I really liked it. Until we got to The Raven King, where literally nothing happens. Basically, the whole series doesn't have a plot anyway, but then you get to The Raven King and she just does stuff, and none of the other books make sense because of it. I could not believe I wasted all my time to get to this stupid book and nothing happened. Everything she had set up before basically vanished, and I felt like she basically didn't know what she was doing when she got to this last book, and it still infuriates me. I hate this book. It ruined the whole series for me. I don't think I can ever reread it. It's just like, what the fuck? So, yeah. The next book that I have is The Disreputable History of Frankie Landau Banks by E. Lockhart. I read this book for my book club, we voted on it, and I did not like it. For pretext, this book actually came out in 2008, so it is 10 years old, and it was voted on because the girls in my book club were like, yes, feminist AF, like, very relevant, so cool. And I can tell you that it did not translate 10 years later, post-Trump error. Yes, I said error, which is true, but I meant era, so I'm gonna keep that in. The feminism in this book did not translate 10 years later. Basically, Frankie does everything in this book to impress these boys who don't give a shit about her. And I don't know how that's supposed to be feminist, but, like, it wasn't. And the people in my book club who had read it before totally agreed. They agreed that it didn't translate 10 years later, so I don't feel alone with this. But this book, like, was so cringy and it was not good. And I'm not the only one who thought that, so that makes me feel good about myself, because usually I'm floating alone in my book club about the only one who didn't like a book, but everyone felt the same way, so this book sucked. Ugh. The next book on my list is one I might get shit for, and that's totally fine. And that's Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I know a lot of people love this book on BookTube. I had a lot of issues with it. I thought the anxiety rep was good to a point, but I honestly thought Eliza was a narcissist and only cared about herself. Her parents loved her. Like, they cared about her so much, and they may have shown it in the wrong ways, but they loved her, and she was just a complete asshole to them. And the stuff that happened at the end, I just was not a big fan of. I don't think it was done correctly. Like, I just don't. And I know that's an unpopular opinion on BookTube. A lot of people love this book, but it was not good representation for me. I thought Eliza was a narcissist. I did not think her anxiety was displayed well. I was on the side of her parents, and maybe that makes me old, but whatever, I'm old. So I was on her parents' side, and Eliza sucked. So I did not like Eliza and Her Monsters, and I know that that is a controversial opinion on BookTube, but whatever. The next book is Perfect Chemistry by Simone Eccles. I gave this book 1 star. I actually can't believe that I finished it. I was reading people's reviews of this on Goodreads, and I've had this book on my shelf for years, and I was just like, I'm finally reading this. I love romance, love contemporary, it's great. But there were so many problematic aspects of this book. The main character thought about raping the other main character, and somehow this is conceived as romance, and I'm so confused. Like, he literally talked about her being drunk on a beach and he being like, I could take advantage of this right now and win the bet. Also, he was just like trying to get with her for a bet. So it was just like, not good. It was not good. It's part of a series too. And I just, like, it's rape culture. And it hasn't translated well in the last 9 years. I think it came out in 2009. So it's just like, I'm so glad things have changed and like now we're calling this stuff out. But 9 years ago when people read this, like they were like, wow, this is so romantic. He didn't rape her on the beach. Like, I have so many issues with this book. Just save yourself and don't read it or hate read it. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, but no. Next book on my list is The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas. I recently read this and I would like to honorable mention The Cheerleaders, and I have another book by Kara Thomas called Little Monsters, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get around to it because I know I mentioned this twice now, but what Kara Thomas does in her thrillers is like not make it thrilling at all. When you do a big reveal in a thriller, you make it like supposed to be like so important, and what she does is she just like slips the like big moment in there and you're just like, wait, was this finally revealed or not? So I'm just not impressed with the writing, with the thrilling aspects of it, basically with anything about Kara Thomas. So it was just like not good and really disappointing and not worth my time, and I should have DNF'd it. I even put like a poll up and was like, should I DNF it? Next time, don't second guess yourself and DNF a book. Okay. The next book on my list is This Song Will Save Your Life by Lila Sales. This book was problematic as well because there's a relationship that happens in this book with an overage guy and an underage girl, and it's just problematic and I'm not here for it. And why are we marketing these books to children and they think, oh, that's cool, I'm 16 and I can hook up with a 25-year-old guy? Just like, it's mind-blowing to me, and I didn't think it was realistic anyway. There was a trigger like 2 chapters in that I was not prepared for, and maybe that's my fault and I should have like looked at trigger warnings, but so many things about this book were just problematic and I didn't enjoy it. I do not recommend it for anyone because of the problematic relationship, the trigger warning, so many things. Like, it's not worth your time, and people on Goodreads have like praised it and I'm like, where and why? And why did I spend $3 on this? And just like, ugh, it was not good. All right, I have 2 more. We're almost there. So next is Dumplin by Julie Murphy. I did not like this book. I enjoyed the movie better. So many things with this book could have been better, and it just like bothered me because it was about a love triangle, which Normally I love triangles, but this was stupid. It was supposed to be about body positivity, but it wasn't. Anytime a boy touched her, she freaked out. Instead of embracing her body, she was like, ugh, he's gonna feel the rolls of fat on me. And I'm like, what? And it was supposed to be about a pageant, and it wasn't about the pageant at all. It like completely missed the mark for me. I wouldn't waste your time with the book, and I would honestly watch the movie, because in the movie, spoilers, there's no love triangle. There is more body positivity with maybe not so much Dumplin, but another character, Millie, and it's more about the pageant and her relationship with her mother, which is all that I wanted from the book, and I didn't get anything like that from the book. So watch the movie. It's better. And last, but certainly not least, is the very first book that I read for 2018, and that was Karvall by Stephanie Garber. This was a book we read for book club, and wow, oh wow, oh wow, did I get off to a bad start with 2018 with this book. So many people love this book, and I just don't get it. First of all, it's kind of fantasy, which I don't like, obviously, but it's also a magic system and a game, and nothing made sense. There's also romance, but the only reason there's romance is because they're the only two like characters in the whole entire freaking book. And then she had the audacity to write 2 more books about this stupid magic system that doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused about it. And the people who love it, I'm just like, why? And also, let me not forget to mention the writing. It was like purpley prose and stuff that didn't make sense at all, and it just felt like she was getting paid by the word and just like threw shit in there that didn't make any sense. To me, at least, I was just like, why can't you just tell me that his hair was brown instead of saying chestnuts roasting on an open fire in spring in nighttime that smelled like moonlight? Like, huh? That, I just made that up, but it didn't make sense. So why do you think that sounds pretty? It doesn't. So in conclusion, I'm done ranting. But these were the 11, I think, worst books that I read in 2018. The ones that I finished, at least. So thank you for watching. See you in my next video.